This is Public Access Be Kind Rewind Part 1. Let's go around and meet everybody. When I call on you, please say your name, your pronouns, and anything else you would like for folks to know about you. Um, if you have any gaming things you're in the middle of professionally or for fun, I'd love to hear that. Maybe your experience with public access or Car from Brindlewood Games, whatever you want to say. But I'll just start by saying that my name is Jason. I use he, they. I am the creator of Public Access as well as this version of Public Access that we're going to be playing. And I love this game. I love playing with all of you, and I think we're going to have a great time. Let's go to Brian.
I'm Brian Sago. Pronouns he or they, and what for gaming stuff. I'm the author of Butter Princess, which Mike did all the design and illustration for, and then Pick Me is coming out very soon. Christmas sort of Toy Story horror. Yeah, and again, looking forward to playing with you all once more.
Awesome. I love it. Just a little side note, we have our Butter Princess and Wassailing of Kloss Manor Fear of the Black Dragon episodes in the can. So look forward to those it'll be a while yet, maybe a month or so, but they're coming.
Very
Fabulous.
excited.
With that, Mike.
Yes, I worked on both the aforementioned games. Yeah, I'm also the author of the upcoming Planet Raygun retro sci-fi heists, and right now, as we speak, kickstarting a little weird experimental party TTRPG called Tourist Hole. I am also one of the writers on Public Access. There's one mystery, an oddball mystery towards the end, which I don't know where it falls in Skinny Jeans.
It's getting changed. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's a couple other that are floating around and have run a bunch of the OG versions. So I'm really excited to try out the new Skinny Jeans edition of it and see how it feels.
Fabulous. I will note here, I don't know a whole lot about Tourist Hole. I haven't had a chance to look at it too much yet, but I will say that Tourist Hole, it sounds like a bar at Fire Island. Like I feel like it's giving a certain thing to me. So anyway, yeah, fabulous. Sarah.
Hello, I am Sarah. I like she or they for pronouns. I am a frequent playtester with all of these lovely humans and just an avid fan of all things roleplay.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And finally, Ben.
I'm Ben. I use he and him pronouns. I also go by Arctosaur pretty much everywhere. I make character keepers for games. I am mid several games that maybe eventually will get finished. But I have played public access. I run public access. I'm looking forward to trying out Skinny Jeans. I think I'm a little experienced with CFP at this point, maybe just a bit.
Smidgen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fun to see how it goes.
A poodle, if you will. Okay, fabulous. Let's go ahead and go through cats. All right, gotta find it on my little thing here. Okay, so CATS is an acronym that stands for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. The purpose of CATS is to establish some basic expectations for what this game is about and what we're going to be doing during this first session. Concept. Public Access is a tabletop role-playing game about a group of people in 2004, the Deep Lake Latchkeys, who find themselves investigating strange mysteries in and around the town of Deep Lake, New Mexico. In the in the 80s and early 90s, Deep Lake was the home of a notorious public access television station called TV Odyssey. The history and fate of which, the station literally disappeared, is the source of much speculation in certain corners of the internet. As the Latchkeys conduct their investigations in Deep Lake, they will become increasingly aware of the central role TV Odyssey plays in everything that's going on, and they will eventually have to face whatever terrible truth lies at the heart of the infamous station. Public Access takes inspiration from early internet horror stories, creepypasta tales, especially Candle Cove, and urban legends. It's also inspired by the analog and American pop culture, or analog and American pop culture from the 80s and 90s. Oh, sorry, I got that wrong. Analog and found footage horror subgenres, synthwave, vaporwave music, and American pop culture from the 80s and 90s. The mechanics are based on Apocalypse World, Brindlewood Bay, and The Between. You don't need to know anything about those games in order to play, but happily the four of you do. Aim. The aim of the characters in the story is to investigate local mysteries in order to get closer to the truth of what happened to TV Odyssey. Our aim as players is to learn more about these characters' pasts, as well as to paint a vivid picture of our version of Deep Lake, New Mexico, a responsibility that we all share. The aims for today's session are to create and introduce our characters, learn the basics of how the game works by playing it, and then we'll have a debrief at the end. Tone. The tone of public access is nostalgic, weird, scary. Everything should always feel just a little bit wrong, a little bit off. Obviously, levity and humor is acceptable, especially in the early parts of the game, but as the overall story progresses and becomes more like horror and horrifying, things get weirder and scarier, so keep that in mind. Subject matter. Cosmic horror, graphic violence, ritual sacrifice, sexism, sexual desire, childhood trauma, consumer culture, and other dark and or sensitive topics can come up in this game. We'll talk about safety tools in a moment, but in the interest of setting expectations right now, you should know that this game occasionally deals with intense subject matter. Speaking of safety tools, no game is more important than the people playing it. We're going to be painting a dark, unsettling portrait of Deep Lake, New Mexico, but we're going to do it in a way that respects everyone's boundaries of safety and consent. In order to do that, we'll be using 3 safety tools. The X card, I know you all know how that works in this context, so I'm not going to go any further with that. The open door policy, again, you know how that works. The new one I'm going to kind of introduce for us is going to be roaming lines and veils. I like to do roaming lines and veils with a group I've played with for a long time because I feel like I have a good sense of what you're all into and can deal with. That said, if there's subject matter that comes up that you maybe don't want to go into, you can go ahead and do a line or a veil on it at that time. Lines are things that you do not want to have in the game at all. Veils are things that you're okay with being in the game, but you prefer not to roleplay it. A big feature of this game is childhood trauma. It's a major theme of the game and sort of exploring that childhood trauma. And so I want to encourage you all to get into that and like really make it a special story. But bear in mind, it just might be something to you just want to keep that in mind that is kind of what we'll be dealing with here. Okay, so with all that said, we're going to do character creation. But before we do, one last little spiel from me. Some details about the setting. The game takes place in and around the fictional town of Deep Lake, New Mexico. Deep Lake and surrounding Nagoya County, again, all fictional, are in a remote part of the state. The town has fewer than 5,000 residents, very tiny, but the eponymous lake attracts vacationers and seasonal hands in the summer, doubling the number of people around. And our game does take place in the summer. The player characters, all of you, are a group of people in their early 20s who met on an internet forum and bonded over their shared history. Your shared history is that you each spent part of your childhood in 1980s and early 1990s Deep Lake. You were each Latchkey kids, which is where you get your name from, and you were then and are now fascinated by TV Odyssey. You didn't know each other when you lived in Deep Lake, but you found each other now, and under your new nickname, the Deep Lake Latchkeys, you intend to find out the true story of TV Odyssey. You are united by something else, but you are not yet aware of it. You each suffered a terrible trauma in childhood. Sharing and exploring those traumas is something that we'll kind of do it together. And, but just know that like you right now, and well, you'll have an opportunity to start talking about it right away if you want to. But as we're playing, you should avoid talking about those things until the appropriate Carve from Brindlewood style flashback happens, right? So just keep that in mind. But as you'll see in a bit, you have some wiggle room there. Okay, so we're going to create characters. We're going to pause the recording for that. Okay, we are back. I have my coffee mug that matches my shirt and indeed matches the town sign of Deep Lake, New Mexico. So that's a fun thing. Pendleton coffee mug available at Dillard's if anybody wants to get their own. Let's introduce these characters. Now that you've all made characters, let's go ahead and introduce them. We're going to go around our virtual table once, and everyone's going to introduce their character via three very basic things to start: your name, your style, which means your like kind of personal clothing style, and maybe your vibe as well. And the three things that, quote, take you back. Now, a big part of this game I mentioned is nostalgia. And one of the things that your characters will often do as a group is you will be reminiscing about shit you used to love when you were a kid. And these are the three things that you have chosen to reminisce about from time to time in order to get benefits in the game. Let's learn those basic things. We're going to go around again in a bit, but we'll just do these basic things first. Let's start with going from left to right. Let's start with this blonde-headed twink, Dash McEwen. Ben, tell us about Dash.
Yeah, I'm playing Dash McEwen. He uses he and him pronouns. His style is matching sneakers. I kind of imagine he's the kind of guy you probably wouldn't notice if he ever wears the same shoes twice. The nostalgia he feels is toward prank phone calls, girl talk, a game of truth or dare, and passing notes in class, which might give you a hint to his personality type.
Mm-hmm.
He is strong in reason with a 2 in that and a 1 in presence.
Oh, we're just doing the three basics for now, but thank you. Name, style, and takes you back. I will note here that I empathize with Dash McEwen and his shoe thing, not because of shoes, but because of summer shirts. I can wear a literal different shirt every day of the summer now. So I might try it this year. So we're going to see where we go. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Let's get these basics going with Brian. Tell us about your character.
All right. I have Santiago Torres, he or they for pronouns. His style is the hoodie worn under a blazer. And his takes you back are Fangoria magazine, heading home when the streetlights flickered on, and wood paneling.
Fabulous. I'm not sure if I'm ashamed to admit or not, but when I was in my early 20s in 2004, thereabouts, I was a hoodie under blazer guy. So noted. Fabulous. Let's go to Sarah.
My character's name is Crystal Serrano. She uses she, her pronouns. Her style is none more goth, and I think it's those ruffly shirts and a lot of monochromatic looks with piercings that don't quite fit her glasses. She's constantly rubbing up against her face. What takes me back is Waco, Choose Your Own Adventure novels, and the Space Shuttle Challenger.
So, childhood trauma, Waco and
Conspiracy
Challenger.
theory girly.
Yeah, there's a lot of trauma going on here. Fantastic. And finally, let's go to Mike.
I hit maximize on my my Zoom window. Tanya Oakes, she, her pronouns. Style is Williamsburg warrior, a real hipster of the era, and takes you back. Record stores, Artax in the Swamp of Sadness, and the Walkman.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, good. What's next? Okay, so at this point, I will remind you all that you should avoid sharing some key details about your character's past, particularly those elements explored in the part of the character sheet called the Key of the Child, which we will learn about in a bit. We're also going to learn more about your characters in a scene we're going to do here in a moment. Now, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and on break, I want you to think about two things. The first is you all have to mark the Key of the Child. You can choose anything you want on that list, but you're going to mark it. And that's the very first thing we're doing when we get back from break. We're going to do a series of narrations where we meet your character for the first time, but we meet them in flashback to their childhood. So this is your opportunity to tell us something about the character, like something you want us to know about this character and their connection to TV Odyssey, whatever their childhood trauma might be, or hinting at it, just something about their childhood. You decide, but you're going to mark one of these boxes, narrate the thing. And then we're going to have a scene where all your characters meet for the first time in person. And so be thinking about your character on a deeper level. What do they want to be when they grow up, so to speak, right? Like, what do they hope for the future, if anything? Do they have a significant other back home? what do they do for a living right now? Like those kinds of details is what we're going to have, what we're going to talk about in the scene. And then we're going to explore the house a little bit that they're moving into. So we're going to take 10. We'll come back. We'll do all those things and we'll continue on. Everyone needs to mark a key of the child and narrate what it says to, or do what it says to do. If you wish to tell us what you marked, you can tell us, but you can just narrate as well. Whoever wants to go first to kick off our story, please do.
I'll go first. A flashback showing Crystal and her latchkey kid routine when she was coming home from school. And we see her at a young age, maybe middle school, sixth or seventh grade. And she was always home a number of hours before her parents. And instead of always wandering the neighborhood and kicking over people's pumpkins at Halloween and spray painting corners of buildings that she knew worked to be seen, she would often just pull all of the curtains closed and surround herself with candles, with a flashlight, and read her mother's paperback books that she picked up in the airport as she was traveling, like Mary Higgins Clark and J.D. Robb and all of these mysteries where women were murdered or about to be murdered, and these sorts of thrilling ideas playing through her head at a young age.
Thank you. Who wants to go next?
I can dive in. Mine's somewhat simple. The flashback showing how I was an outsider among my peers. In my love of Fangoria magazine and all things gross and kind of like bloody, I would make my own sandwiches to put in my lunchbox, and did my best to hone the art of special effects by trying to make it look like I was eating roadkill each day, like carve the sandwich into like a dead armadillo, and then hot sauce was blood squirting out. And I thought it was brilliant, but the other kids at the lunch table did not really appreciate my sense of craft and a love of gore.
I love it.
I can go. We see a classroom early afternoon, and sitting in one of the desks near the front is a skinny boy who looks utterly confident and unbothered despite the chaos in the rest of the class. And as the teacher walks around setting tests face down on the desk surfaces, she says, "And with yet another 100%, Mr. McEwen, congratulations." Behind him, a boy coughs and throws a paperclip at the back of his head. And totally composed, Dash turns around and says, "Are you upset that I'm going to be your boss one day? Don't worry, if you're really good, I'll let you clean the bathroom on your break." And turns back to face the front of the class.
Tanya's at the local record shop buying a copy of REM's Eponymous. So we kind of open and she's at the counter, right? It's like, "Thanks, Harry. Like, I'm really excited about this. This sounds like it's going to be great." And she's kind of like hopping around. And you don't see her parents anywhere. And she leaves. She's got her backpack on. And she pops in the tape. And so we're kind of like hearing the album play as she's just walking down this desert road. And this huge white Buick pulls up. And there's a woman in the driver's seat. She's got the big curly perm. She's got the really thick glasses. And she reaches over and rolls down the window on the passenger side and says, "Well, hey there, honey, you shouldn't be walking out here alone. It's so hot, so goddamn hot out here. I mean, gosh darn hot out here." Why don't you let me give you a ride wherever you're going? Tanya's kind of bold and a little bit fearless, and she's been warned about panel vans, but not giant Buicks. And so she hops in, and the next thing we see is they're driving along, and the woman's just making small talk, and Tanya looks in the back seat, and she sees rags with chlorophyll. She sees ropes and knives, and immediately realizes that she's in trouble. She looks at the woman, and the woman looks at her and recognizes that Tanya's tone has changed in the conversation dramatically. And Tanya catches that. And in that very grabs the driver's wheel and pulls it to the right. The car in kind of like, and the woman kind of like pulls it the other way. There's a little bit of a tug of the war as this kind of like big boat of a car is going back and forth on the road, and then veers off to the right and smashes right into a telephone pole. We hear the crash and the crunch of the crash. And then Tanya was wearing her seatbelt. She's been taught like a good girl of the 80s, but the driver was not. And the driver has been expelled out the windshield, and we just see with the lights blinking, the blinkers blinking with this like crashed Buick wrapped around this telephone pole, and in the distance 40-50 feet ahead is just this bloody cut up mass of a woman.
Good start. It's 2004, the summer of 2004. You all met on a small online forum called the Deep Lake Odyssey. The people who gather on this forum are interested in the mystery of a public access TV station in Deep Lake, New Mexico called TV Odyssey, which broadcast on cable channel 94. TV Odyssey operated from the late 1970s to the early 1990s, offering studio space to and airing a variety of local productions. The station literally physically disappeared in 1992. At the time, local officials said a fire burned the station down, but there was no evidence to support a fire. The station simply vanished. Perhaps even more strange, the people of Deep Lake and surrounding Degoya County can't remember TV Odyssey, or if they do, they aren't talking about it. The only evidence TV Odyssey ever existed is the vague recollections of people on this forum and the so-called Odyssey tapes. The Odyssey tapes are VHS recordings that supposedly contain episodes of the various shows that aired on Channel 94. The Odyssey tapes are recognizable by their distinctive purple clamshell cases, the paper inserts of which depict Dayglow pyramids and Torii gates. The Odyssey tapes also have physical properties that are unexplainable by science, allegedly. The content of the tapes can only be viewed at night and cannot be transferred to any other medium. Supposedly, attempting to watch one during the day or from an internet upload have all failed. The image just shows a blank blue screen. Now, you got to know each other on this forum over the course of a few months and decided to spend this summer in Deep Lake looking into the mystery of TV Odyssey and hoping to snag an Odyssey tape or two. You each lived in Deep Lake when you were kids, back in the late 80s and early 90s, though you didn't know each other at the time. You have vague recollections of TV Odyssey, and you hope that pooling your knowledge and resources together might help you get to the bottom of what actually happened. Worst case scenario, you spend a few months in a small tourist town with new friends. You rented a house, 26 Rodenbecker Street. It stands out from other houses in the area. Houses in this area are mostly single-story brick ranch-style homes, right? But 26 Rodenbecker Street is odd. It is uh, a two-story, almost like a Victorian, in the middle of the desert, and it looks maybe to Santiago like the house in the Amityville Horror, I'd guess. It's got that kind of vibe. It's also in a big corner lot, which is also rare in the town. And we're going to meet your characters in the present day, 2004, right now. You're each arriving on this morning and afternoon, arriving separately. You all have your own cars, or you got here in whatever way you got here. And in this scene that we're going to have, we have a few different objectives here. The first thing we're going to do is we just want to see your characters interact and meet each other in person for the first time, right? You've met online, but you've never met in person. And we want to get to know you all a little better. In particular, like I've mentioned before, I want to know what you do for a living today in 2004. I want to know what you hope to do in the future, if anything. And I want to know if you have a significant other back home. You're also going to pick which room in the house is yours. And I want to know why you pick that room. We'll get to that in a bit, though. But be thinking about which room you would take in the house, right? So let's begin. Who arrives first for this summer of fun?
It would not be Dash.
I'll throw in. I could, yeah. I arrive first.
How do we see you?
You see me in like oversized flannel, sort of like a brown, I think, knit cap, headphones, big bulky black headphones, and yeah, like probably like trying to think of like luggage wise. I think it's just like a classic like military style duffel bag. Like, and this is not like this is all style on Tanya's part. And I come into the house and I'm just kind of like scoping out and trying to figure out which room is the furthest from the other rooms. That's kind of, yeah, like maybe it's like the corner of the second floor that's past the bathroom. And so she's just trying to like weigh out like how can I be away from these people that are going to come, and maybe that's why she got there first, is she just wants to make sure that she is getting, yeah.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, you probably find the keys where the person who rented you the house said they could be found. That was also kind of mysterious, if I'm being honest.
Hmm.
I don't know who secured the house for the four of you, but basically it was like a person who only wanted to talk on the phone, never wanted to meet in person, and they always sounded kind of different whenever you talked to them. Like you were talking to someone, like you were talking to like another person, like they claimed to be the same person, but they didn't sound like the same person. It was all a little odd, but the price was right, and you're here. I would like to think that maybe we can pick up the scene with the next person arriving and like hollering up, hey, is anybody here? That kind of thing. And while you're looking for your room, Tanya, who arrives next?
I think that Crystal has spent like the last hour and a half or 2 hours just driving up and down the streets trying to remember, okay, I have been here, looking for her little like anarchy tags from when she like spray painted on corners of things, trying to reorient to this weird little town, having forgotten most of it from her childhood. And as she arrives at this house, she sees like we pull up, it's like a little shit kicker Camry. She's got the biggest black carry-on size suitcase that galumps. And so you don't even, I don't even have to call upstairs. Tanya can hear the like thudding struggle of a woman who is too pale, dressed head to toe in eggplant purple, trying to get it up the stairs.
Let's just have the scene with the two of you.
Tanya, like we see her in the room and she just kind of takes a deep breath. Hey, who's that?
Hi. Hi. Oh, I don't want to give you your handle. What would have been the internet name Tanya would have used?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because that's how you know each other, right?
Oh, yeah. Um, oh, I think we'll just tie it back to the flashback. It's just eponymous is her is her tag, her handle. Um,
Hippopotamus, is that you? You sound like a tiny little mouse.
what would be your handle?
Morticia, but there would be a bunch of
Morticia 6969.
exactly. Like it's that plus like a dollar sign and one of the S's. Like it's awful.
Hey, Mort.
Ladies upstairs. How's the rooms?
Uh, rooms are a little dingy up here. I think the ones down there might be.
Perfect. And I just like galumph, galumph to one of the rooms that has the least natural light.
So we have faraway room, we have dark, occluded room. That's good. We'll get the scene going. We'll kind of maybe pick up at that in a bit. Who arrives next? Maybe a little slightly later in the day.
Do you want to be last, Ben, or do you care?
Hey, I could go now, yeah.
All right, go for it.
Dash will push open the door. He has a duffel bag and a roller bag and another set of bags under his arm. And he'll look around, take off his sunglasses, and just, this is not what he was expecting, but fine. He'll close the door behind him and say, I know I'm not the first one here.
Silence from upstairs.
Right. And he'll start heading up the stairs, aiming for the biggest room that is still available.
It's probably downstairs, actually, the biggest one.
Then
Rooms up
that's-
here are pretty small, little dingy, not really well kept up.
Thank you. And he'll just turn into one of the other rooms, drop off his stuff, and say, "Who is that?"
It's Mort
Equal-
and epitome. No, eponymous, the epitome of
Rushing up the stairs, he's going to try and find his friends.
Let's just have the scene with all of you on the landing of the stairway, or on the not landing, but up or the upper landing. Yeah.
You all found the place okay, I guess.
What would my username be? It's probably something. It's like underscore so underscore automatic. Like just a forum chose it automatically for him, and he just never bothered to change it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we probably just call you by your name then, right?
Probably,
or do we
yeah.
call you? Because we wouldn't call you like 432 or something like that.
Crystal would have given you an obnoxious nickname like Auto Dash.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, he'll come up, he'll see whoever is there first, and he will go in for a big hug.
Hi,
Hi! Oh my God, you're shorter than I thought.
you are blonder than I thought. Hi.
Just this week. Just this week. Hi! And big hug.
Her tossing some like chunky scene girl purple highlights in her hair. Yeah, it's just purple for me this week too. It's so good to see you. See you.
Yes, yes, see me. And he'll do a little twirl. He is dressed in full Abercrombie circa 2004.
Oh yeah, that was the look for guys like Dash, right?
A little too small, but that's part of the charm.
T-shirts that just turn into little wads of gum after you get them out of the dryer. Just they're the worst.
And uh, eponymous. Eponymous? Epi,
Dash, what's up?
you are also shorter than I thought.
I must be really tall in your imagination.
Incredibly. Barbarella.
But to be fair, Barbarella is everybody's imagination. Like if I don't have a picture of you, Barbarella's a really good starting place.
She's what I aspire to be.
I just sigh. Um, Sorry, make an expression. I am just thinking about objectives from a meta standpoint. Feel free to
Oh.
jump in,
Let's
anyone.
get our let's get our fourth latchkey here, Santiago. What does your
Alrighty.
arrival look like?
Um, Kind of blustery. I come in and I've got one of those like military surplus duffel bags that's just way too tall and also way too clean. Like it shouldn't. No, nobody's ever used it before yesterday, but I think it looks really cool. And come in with that, and uh, I almost immediately start mixing drinks. Like I'm settling into the kitchen before I settle into a room, because I'm a mixologist at Casa Chongo. We don't use the word bartender at Casa Chongo. We're mixologists, and I'm like immediately trying to like make drinks for people, even though they haven't requested them, and I haven't even really said hello. I'm kind of like grinding the blender and like, and you guys are gonna love this. This is it's a special bloody margarita. It's a little spicy, but it's gonna be good. You're gonna like it. And it's one of my specialties, and like oh sorry guys, I'm New Mexico. New Mexico is my username. Because I'm a mixologist. That's we've met online. That's me, New Mexico. Here, taste this.
Dash will take it and go, and you are immediately my favorite.
Well, now that we're all here, let's
By the way,
have yeah.
regarding rooms, I think it would be really, if
Yeah.
this doesn't break the game, I think it would be really funny if I'm like stuck on the sleeper sofa, like there
Sure.
wasn't a
Yeah.
fourth room, like the listing was wrong.
There's a fourth room, or maybe there is, and it's you can't.
Oh,
find
I
it.
like that.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, let's go with that. I'm on the sleeper sofa.
The person on the phone who went by the name Sandra, uh, Sandra insisted there were four rooms, but you can't. Four bedrooms, but no sign of the fourth bedroom, as it turns out. Let's have our house meeting. Everyone's kind of gotten settled in a bit. We'll get to that. We'll kind of go. We'll kind of see what you brought with you in a moment. But for now, yeah, just a meeting, common area. It sounds like we're having Ritas, and let's just share. Getting to know you. Have a little getting to know you chat. Role
I
play.
think after a really bubbly opening, Crystal would be straight back to conspiracy vibes of, but no, the only way that the TV Odyssey fire makes any sense is if it was sucked into a portal in hell.
Hell, though?
Well, or some fiery adjacent alternate reality. I don't know, but why did it burn? But there was no evidence of the fire.
Do we have any evidence it was ever there at all?
Man, that's too meta for my first margarita. Okay, like we'll figure some stuff out. There's got to be Odyssey tapes all over this place, and we'll know more. But for right now, I'm so keyed up to be here.
Tanya, are you going to sneeze? You look like you're about to sneeze.
No, no, no. Sorry, I just have resting sneeze face. Especially when we're talking about TV Odyssey disappearing into hell. Um,
Or other magical fire.
yeah, is that better as a theory? Is that worse? I'm not sure.
Look, I know my mom took a photo of that on that Kodak disc camera. That I remember that garbagey little. It was a grainy image, but I remember seeing the photo.
of the studio?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have it?
Oh, my mom has it, I think. I don't know. Maybe she might have thrown it out. Who knows? When she moved, but she might still have it. I'll try and get a hold of her.
You're just bringing this up now. You didn't bring this up on the forums as we've been discussing this for months.
I, it's been a while
Literally
since
trolling.
it's been a while since I've been in Deep Lake and like coming back in. I saw the photo mat and I remember dropping off the those little disc things to get them processed. So yeah, I remember that now. I just, you know, space, location, it brings things back. You're not having any ideas coming back, some memories from being here?
I've been special ordering every out of print book I can with pictures from this place. And frankly, the company is getting really concerned about my special orders because we're not selling any of these books. And then I like open up I would have packed several different volumes of books. Is why my suitcase is so big. I have a reference library.
Like, Crystal, do you own a bookstore? Where do you get all these?
I do corporate sales for a chain, and I don't own anything. No, but it's good work now, and I think that maybe like I could run a store someday.
I think you would be great running your own store. We should discuss looks before you get into that, though.
Books.
Looks.
Dash looks up and down the Abercrombie situation. We can talk books, okay?
You could talk lookbooks.
Yes. Tanya gets it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a style, okay? It's who I am on the inside.
Oh.
So Santiago, New Mexico, you're the mixologist.
Hmm.
Crystal, corporate sales for books, maybe lookbooks. We might get there. Dash, remind me again, what's your deal?
Oh, I work at a PR firm.
For for what?
Public relations.
Well, yeah, I get what PR stands for, but what public relations for what? Do you have a specialty or
Oh, I mean, I haven't been doing it very long. I office work mostly.
oh,
I'm an
cool, cool.
intern
That's
at a
cool.
PR office, but I'm working my way up.
Yeah, that's you should. You'll get there.
Thank you. But the photo, Santiago, we should, yeah, you should get your mom on the line and maybe she has that picture because anything we can find will help.
Yeah, we just need proof, right? That's it.
Maybe we should go to where it was or purported to be.
That sounds reasonable. I'm almost done with this pear cactus. It's a non an NA thing. You might want to try it. Just hang on a second. Let me get that. I'll put it in a to-go cup if you want.
NA?
I suppose 2004 doesn't have that phrase, does it? Um, it's a new thing. It's a little less boozy than you might be used to, but
What's the point of that?
healthier for you. It's got a lot of chlorophyll in it. That's where the green comes from. That's just it's like a healthy pick me up before you go out in the sun and have a hot day.
Like a tropical O'Doul's.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you all want to learn about each other before we keep going, or are we good with this scene?
Uh, I'm gonna plug away a little bit more of my background for 1 second here. So Dasher in PR. Does that tie into the movie industry at all? Because like really, like I'm a mixologist for now, and I'm good at it. Like. people appreciate my beverages, my concoctions, but I really want to concoct special effects stuff for the movies, like,
Here we go. I want to know what you want to do, not what
yeah,
you're currently doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
the blood, the gore, none of this digital stuff. No, like keeping it old school. So if you've got like some PR contacts in the film industry, we could talk about that too while we're on the ride over to where Odyssey was.
Not the film industry per se, but I've worked with people in local news.
First steps are first steps, I guess. Yeah.
They might know someone. We could help each other out. You keep providing alcohol, I hook you up.
All right, I'll throw a little dash of tequila in your pear cactus, the drink that I'm making.
Santiago, the I know things are a little dire right now, but the digital stuff is going to be where the money is. Trust me. I know that's the the rug got pulled out from underneath that whole situation, but we'll get back there. It'll be good.
I don't know, Tanya. I want to believe that somehow the digital era will change everything, but when it comes right down to it, there's nothing more powerful than the written word. And if you combine the right words together, you can just change whole minds, inspire generations.
It's true. And that information wants to be free, not hawked to corporations by corporations. I'm getting a little controversial. I'm just worked up. I've been out of work for a while. It's just touching on a little bit of a nerve for me.
You and I know we've had conversations about this, about how important open source information is, but I still need a paycheck. Check. Like, I don't know.
If all the world's information is free, why do you need a paycheck?
Food, generally, I think is not
But you'll
free, but
know how to
yeah.
grow the food.
No, you're totally right. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Just a big old sip
You'll
of
be
my
able to do
cactus
everything that you
tequila
need
conk.
on your own. You won't have to pay the man to be able to survive.
It's
You'll
important.
have the information that the man has and lords over you.
You know how much I hate the man. I really, really do.
Look, you hardly need food if you're drinking wheatgrass juice. I'll throw a little dash of wheatgrass in your beverage and hand you that.
See,
Thanks.
Santiago gets it. Other
Thanks.
than he's a little too skeptical of the digital age, but he gets it.
Man can be useful though, especially if he's married.
The man dash.
I know what I
No,
said.
Autodash is always good for a laugh. Thank you for bringing us back to reality.
Does anyone have a significant other back home that they want to talk about?
Pointedly not talking about an ex, I think is where Crystal's at.
Pointedly not talking about the married man.
Um, my phone rings and I'm like, hang on a second, I gotta take it. This is my boss. But then as you're eavesdropping, you can definitely tell that I am sleeping with my boss. The way that I'm talking about like, oh no, no, I definitely I left the blenders on the back rack and I refilled the things, but then yeah, yeah, I'll be back in town soon, honey. And then like boss.
Dash is just openly watching Santiago, just a thoughtful little expression on his face.
Fantastic. We've had a chance to get to know these characters a bit, and you'll all kind of go off to your own rooms and finish unpacking. Let's go around the table and find out what you have in your corner of the house. Uh, so, this is stuff that's going to be, it's functionally like your equipment in the game. It's like every other CFB game that has this feature. These are things that you might have brought with you. These might be things that you are, maybe there's something in the room that you chose the room for because there's something in it that you find interesting, and that can be part of your corner of the house. Yeah, there's really it's pretty open as far as what kinds of things might be here. But basically, the way these work mechanically is if you can ever work one of these items or things into your narration of your action that you're taking, you get a bonus on your die roll. And yeah, that's more or less how they work. We each get to say one thing about each character that we think they brought, and everybody will have a chance to see Santiago's stuff most closely because Santiago does not have a bedroom. Santiago's stuff is in the corner of the living room, and so um, everybody, we know some stuff about Santiago. What do we think Santiago might have brought? And of course, Brian, you can ask for an adjustment or decline anything that is any idea that doesn't appeal to you or fit your idea of your character.
Sounds good.
I'm going to say though that I think that you have, um, you have like a small, like basically like some supplies for making so the supplies and formula for making very convincing fake blood. This is hard to do. This is infamously hard to do in special effects makeup, right?
Mm.
You have what you believe is the superior fake blood formula.
Want to go a little simple, but I think you brought an entire sack of citrus fruit of your choice. Like it is just a sack full of oranges, which I suppose could be used in any number of contexts, but mostly it's a mixology
Or
urge.
juggling. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Are you specifically a non-alcoholic mixologist? Is that a reading, or are you just like that's a thing that you're interested in?
We haven't really talked about Casa Chongo. So Casa Chongo, the name is essentially Chimpanzee House. This is, I talk it up like it's a high class bar. What it really is more like one of those places where the parents go and the kids go play in the playroom, and I'm the bartender for the parents.
It's like a rainforest cafe or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rainforest
Okay.
Cafe, perfect comparison. Yes. So there's like a little playroom with a ball pit and
Yep.
a slide or whatever. The
Perfect.
parents are like, "Hit me! I need another one. I'm watching my."
You have brought a milk jug that is filled with a clear liquid, and there is just some like a piece of gaffer's tape, and then it is written vodka on it. So you have a milk jug of unbranded vodka.
I like the idea of it being vodka remnants. It's like different vodkas. Like, you
You
can't
just
tell.
what it,
It's all
yeah,
clear.
yeah.
Like all the unfinished shot glasses have just
Yeah.
gone.
Or like just unfinished bottles of booze or whatever, like vodka. You're a mixologist. Come on, you mixing blood and booze. It's great. Um, Fantastic. Ben, do you want to offer something?
Yeah, I think you have a Sony Handycam with the cassette, the mini DV
Hmm.
tapes.
Fantastic.
Sounds
Let's
good. Thank
let's
you.
keep going. Let's talk about Crystal. Now, Crystal, your latchkey move. We haven't talked about latchkey moves, but the latchkey move you chose is called Have you ever
Have
danced
you
with
ever
the
danced with the devil?
Have you ever danced with the devil? So you actually came to Deep Lake as well with a collection of tools for working black magic. So you already start with candles, a grimoire, a small brazier, an athame, and a poppet, as well as the four things we're going to give you based off what we know about you so far, what we think you brought. Who has an idea for Crystal?
I've got one.
Hmm.
It's a book, Ancient Astronauts and Their Standing Stones.
Fun.
Nice.
If you
DVD
guys need a vibe,
copies,
Oh
oh,
no,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
DVD copies of the first 4 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, yeah, I feel personally attacked.
I love it. I'm going to say that you have, since you're kind of into conspiracies and stuff, I'm going to say that you once got a visit from the FBI because of your online activity, and it ended up being okay, but they did give you like their personal like mobile phone number in case there's something you want to report or you need some help with something. Yeah.
And how tall is this Mulder-looking FBI agent
Yeah,
as in
exactly.
Crystal's
Yeah.
imagination? Got it, got it, got it.
I'm going to lean into you mentioned the big suitcase, so I'm going to add more color to that. It's like one of those old, like vintage, um, like crates, the like big wardrobe, like it folds
Like
open.
a traveling
There's
trunk.
secret compartments in this trunk. Yes. And it's all painted just like pitch black, of course.
Amazing.
Okay, let's keep going then. We'll go over to Dash at this point. All right, so Dash, let's see what you've got. What do we think Dash brought with him to Deep Lake? I'm gonna say that you brought, and we'll put it in quotes for now. You brought Daddy's credit card.
Um, Fabric shears, because you're always cutting off the sleeves and like turning jeans into very short shorts or shorts into shorter shorts, that kind of thing. So you have like these really strong like denim.
Like
Yeah.
Fiskars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to decide if there would be a sport that Dash would love watching and therefore have some paraphernalia, but not like playing.
Men's
Like,
beach volleyball.
You just have a DVD copy or a VHS copy of Top Gun.
no,
Well
I'm going to make it
used.
a little more practical than that. You have between two posts rolled up a half-size volleyball net. Like you could set out like a badminton net over an afternoon, like out in the yard, but you have it all rolled up into some sort of case.
Oh man, it's not the same, but it's similar to my what I had in a way. Tell me if this works or if there's a way to twist it. Was looking at your matching sneakers, just like an enormous supply of additional shoelaces you can color coordinate as needed.
Maybe like footwear care, like the cleaner with the brush.
Oh yeah, the cleaner in the brush.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
yeah. Foot,
You can spare laces too. You can do all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, sort of a
shoe
keep your
care
shoes
kit.
tidy kit. Yeah.
Hmm. Is that everyone? Or, it is indeed. Finally, let's go over to Tanya Oakes. What do we think Tanya Oakes brought? I have an idea. Tanya Oakes. I think that white Buick, was it a Buick? I think that white Buick had a really distinctive, like, custom hood ornament on it. And you took said hood ornament from the wreckage. And that hood ornament is, ooh, what do we think it is? I'll take ideas for what it might be. Oh, I think the hood ornament was like, um, it was like a religious like a saint icon or like a Jesus or something,
Love
right?
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
If I can suggest an alternative, what if it's like a boar's head with tusks pointing forward?
I'm okay
Since
with
pigs
either.
keep coming up,
I like it. I'm gonna stick with my. I think it's like a Mary or a Jesus or something. You can decide like some kind of. But that was there's an irony there. I think. Yeah.
Yes, I like the
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
But it's from that wreckage, though. You took it.
Yeah.
I
Is
think you have a shoebox full of tapes, but not VHS tapes, audio um, tapes that are not only mixtapes of your own making, but then also recordings of people and conversations that you've been overhearing and just like an audio history corner, sort of diary of your observations and whatnot included amongst the music.
pepper spray?
You definitely
Mike,
would have something like that from that point on, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Mike, remind me what Tanya's profession is. I'm sorry, I didn't write it down.
So we didn't address it directly.
Unemployed, right?
Yeah, unemployed, laid off, and she worked at a .com.
Got caught in that bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the sort of person who have like some pilfered blank checks from that .com or not?
Potentially, yeah.
They weren't using them. They didn't need them anymore.
The .com was
You're
called
just
Too
using a
Many
scratch
Fish.
paper.
Too
It
many
was
fish.
a fish supply, fish aquarium supply company.
If that works, go with it then.
The blank too many fish check and ledger book. That's pretty great. Oh, love it. Okay. You're all settled in. And now I have to find the next part of the introduction. Give me one moment. Okay, let's see here. Well, we're going to fast forward. You have been now in Deep Lake for a couple of weeks. You have made no progress on TV Odyssey. You have made none. The rumor about the sort of like the rumor about like how people in Deep Lake don't remember it, that's holding up. You're out there for the last couple of weeks, you've been kind of talking to people, your neighbors at coffee shops, that kind of thing. And no one can remember this. They all look at you like you're crazy. There was never a TV station called TV Odyssey that they can recall. No one even remembers cable channel 94. So that part of the story, the mystery holds up. Like that's not just some bullshit on the Deep Lake forums. Like if this TV station ever existed, no one can remember it. Begs the question, maybe it never existed. Maybe this is all just maybe you all just imagine this, right? Maybe you've all convinced yourself of something, right? That's not true. It hasn't helped that you also have not found a tape because there's no tapes, no evidence of TV Odyssey. You also haven't even found anything particularly weird. You know, you've heard so many stories about this place. So far, it's just turning out to be a summer in the desert. Maybe you occasionally go to the lake. You kind of bop around. You get to know each other a little better, I guess. Maybe you're becoming friends. That's all. You know, it is what it is. This is probably going to be a bust. You're going to go back home. You know, it's still just your worst case scenario, which is not that bad. You got a little vacation out. You know, you reconnected with the town that you kind of vaguely remember from childhood. But all of that is about to change. All of that changed this morning. Someone left an Odyssey tape on the doorstep, just waiting on you when you go out to maybe go out to grab your mail or whatever. Purple clamshell, you know, little neon drawings of symbols and things on the paper insert. You can crack it open, and there is a tape inside. On the spine of the tape, there's a label that tells you what is presumably the name of this episode of television, I guess. It says on the label, Happy Jack '06 duress signal, ? Pure white pretext, ? Maybe someone's playing a joke on you. Or maybe this is the real deal. You pop it into the VCR that you have at the house there, and nothing happens. It's just a blue screen. The tape appears to be blank. Maybe the alleged strange physical properties of this tape are true. Maybe you do have to watch it at night. Time will tell. But also, things are getting interesting in another way. Another mystery has found you shortly after you find this tape. Let's present our first mystery. It is called The House on Escondido Street. Now, I'll transfer this all to the character keeper in a bit, but for now, just pay attention. A young man, Casey Wilcox, shows up at the house just a little bit after you find this tape, in fact. He's heard about your investigation of TV Odyssey. He doesn't really know anything about that, but he thinks you might be interested in another Deep Lake mystery, The House on Escondido Street. He explains that 18 Escondido Street, which is just one street over from where you're at, has been abandoned since 1994, when the family that lived there, the Rappaports, disappeared without a trace. Now, Casey was 10 years old then, and friends with Elliot, the youngest of the two Rappaport children. The other Rappaports are Dad Hugh, Mom Sherry, and Elliot's sister Abigail. Casey doesn't remember there being anything strange going on with the family at that time, which made their sudden disappearance all the more bewildering. 18 Escondido has become a local legend in the 10 years since, a classic haunted house right in the middle of Deep Lake. People avoid the house. They say it has bad energy. And apart from some minor acts of vandalism over the years, the house is largely as the Rappaports left it. I'm going to pose the following question to Crystal. Casey's story includes a detail that makes you think 18 Escondido Street is evil. What is it?
When the lights flicker and go out, they turn on again in an amber, almost red flame-like glow before they go dark.
Interesting. Now, the way this game works is we have questions and opportunities. You're all going to go investigate this mystery in order to gather clues, and the clues will help you answer the question, which is, quite simply, what happened to the Rappaports? It's a complexity 6, more on that later, and if you answer it successfully, or if you answer it correctly, you get to pursue the opportunity, which is to resolve the mystery by revealing the truth of what happened to the Rappaports to Casey Wilcox. Then, if you wish, you can destroy the house at 18 Escondido Street or perform a ritual to banish the evil that resides there. All of this is right up your alley, Crystal. So this is tailor-made for you, I feel like. You have another thing to be aware of as well. So on your sheet, you have these keys, the key of the child, the key of desolation. Now, we've seen some of the key of the child already. Both of them can be used as well to bump up die rolls in a pinch if you need to. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. There's a key as well on this mystery called the key of the cave dweller. It functions in the same way. At any time, you can choose to mark it. It can be marked once by one of you and increase the result of your die roll. But alternatively, When you get ready to answer a question, that question about what happened to the Rappaports, perhaps, after you roll and see your result, you can mark the key of the cave dweller to bump up that result to the next highest tier. So you might want to save it for that. That's one change from the other rules, the old public access rules. We'll talk about the key of the cave dweller if you decide you want to mark it in the future. But for now, you have a mystery, you have a tape. You've been here a couple weeks, and things are starting to look up. This may end up being something after all. We're going to take a 5-minute break. When we get back, we're going to do a short day phase because we don't have a lot of time left. Just a short day phase, like one scene each, and then we'll do a night phase, and then we'll wrap. So we'll see you in 5. So I think we pick up straight away. Casey hasn't even left the house. He's still there with you after this. You've got this tape that you're going to try watching tonight, but we are going to do a day phase. Now in the day phase, next week when we start playing fully, we'll have we'll have several scenes each. It'll be a longer thing. But for now, we're going to just do like kind of one little action or scene per character. I'm going to go around the table and find out what you're all interested in doing to sort of start looking into this mystery of Escondido Street. And then we'll figure out what the scenes look like from that point on. Our goal here is really just to try the mechanics out and try the investigation out and kind of see how that all goes. So, what do you think, Tanya? Tanya, what do you want to do for the day phase?
That's a good question. I think I'm going to the house.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go kind of poke around. What better time to poke around a haunted house than the day when there's no danger?
Exactly. Precisely. Santiago, what do you think?
Oh man, I was leaning the same way, but
You
maybe
can.
I'll do something different. Maybe I will go find some whatever bar restaurant place to talk up a local mixologist who's been around since '94, like somebody who's been working there for 20 plus years, to see like whatever the nearest bar would be to this house.
Mm-hmm. See
Go there.
if they remember the Rappaports.
Yeah, to say like, hey, did the Rappaport parents ever come in here?
I love it. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, it's kind of I like it. Good outside the box thinking. Dash.
Casey might know more than what he's told us initially, so try and get some more out of him, maybe.
He's happy to go over there with you to the house too. So Tanya, like Dash, if you and Tanya want to go with him, and you can be chatting with him while you're kind of going over there.
Sure.
Crystal, what do you want to do?
That was my first instinct. Crystal would have already lit a sage bundle and have a cloudy, like construction quartz looking dark gray rock.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
just like pacing around him saying, and when you say that energy was bad, what are people saying specifically?
Right. Good.
Which would lend kind of like the tag along to the haunted house. She's not going to miss this.
So mostly everybody's going to the house. That's good. And Santiago's going to go to a bar, your comfort zone, Santiago, which I think is good. Let's pick up with a walk over to the house. So the 4 of you are, meaning Casey and the 3 of you, are going. It's just one street over. It's not a far walk. you gotta just cut through someone's yard basically, and you're over there. Let me tell you about Casey a little bit more. Casey he's about your age, maybe a little younger, but he's no he's at least 19 or 20, right? And he has a blonde faux hawk, Jinko jeans with Jinko's big wide kind of jeans and like a flame button down, shirt. He's giving you Hot Topic circa 2004, really circa like 2002, but that's okay. We won't give him a hard time about that. And good looking guy. He has a cleft palate scar, but it makes his face look kind of distinctive, I guess. I wouldn't say it's unattractive. And yeah, so he's just so the 4 of you are all just kind of going, and he's like, so you all used to live in Deep Lake when you were kids?
Three streets over.
Cool. Well, I definitely don't blame you for getting the hell out of here. This town, it does shit to you, you know? Like, if you ever let it get its claws in you, it's over. It will never let you go. That's what happened to me after Elliot and his family disappeared. I was in a bad place for a long time after that. That's when that's when Deep Lake made its move on me.
Dash will kind of lean forward a little bit with a very sympathetic expression on his face and say, and when you say made a move on you, what are we talking about?
Go ahead and let's trigger a move. Our first move of the campaign is going to be the meddling move. When you search for a clue, conduct research, or otherwise gather information, which is what you're doing now, describe how you're doing so and roll with an appropriate ability. I think the way you've started this is it's going to be presence. Presence is the score we roll for like social types of interactions. And so go ahead and roll with your presence score of 1.
With a +1, that's an 11.
11. Nice. Very nice. I owe you a clue. We'll get to that in a moment. Like I said, you're not going far. And so you all get to 18 Escondido Street. And the outside of the house, I mean, it's just a single story ranch style home like you would expect to find in this neighborhood. Indeed, all the houses up and down the street are that. In front of the house in the front yard, there's a stand of trees, copse of tall ponderosa pines, and there's grass, kind of yellowing grass all around the front. Sticky pine needles getting all over your shoes. And I will tell you that you realize at a certain point, as you're kind of crossing the yard, that it's just 3 of you now. Casey's not with you. If you look back, you'll see that he never stepped off the sidewalk while you all kept going. And here, let's paint the scene. Something about the trees, and maybe even Casey's reaction, makes you think the evil in this place, as Crystal has defined it, the evil in this place might be in the land itself. What is it? Everyone gets to speak here, including you, Brian.
The bark on these trees, if you catch a quick glance of it, looks like little screaming faces.
Like if you're looking like trying to see something in the clouds, like you see something in the bark. Is that the idea?
Yeah, like the classic movie thing, right? Like when you look directly at it, it just looks like
It's
tree
tree
bark.
bark,
But whenever
yeah,
you're
yeah.
focused a little bit away, it just looks like it's the screaming
Edvard
over
Munch
and
thing.
over again.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Crystal's gonna mom arm Tanya. Wait! And toss out like a fistful of salt or something, and we see that it stops in a very distinct perimeter. As we cast it back towards the road, there is an obvious force preventing it from continuing forward in its momentum.
Interesting. Maybe it was just the wind, or maybe not. Who knows? Ben, what do you notice, or what does Dash notice?
The wind is not right in this area. Out beyond at the sidewalk there was a little bit of a breeze. It was pleasant, but here it's almost sticky and humid despite the surrounding area not being.
Um, if there's, let's say there's like a little wooden privacy fence somewhere, but the wood is rotted up from below, almost like it's been snow and water damaged, except that we're in the wrong climate for wood rot to come creeping up from something that's
Oh,
suspended above the land.
it's a good observation. Yeah, I like it. It's good. I'm going to give you that clue from Casey, who has not stepped off the sidewalk. But he initially says, "You can feel it, right? Like this place is fucked, right? It's not just me."
Have you ever been inside the house, Casey?
Well, yeah, I was friends with Elliot. I've been here a million times.
I mean, after the whole thing.
No. Uh,
Do you want to come in with us?
Listen, there's a reason why I haven't gone in and why I have such a bad feeling about it. I I've seen some things. I've and he kind of takes a tentative step onto the yard so that he doesn't have to holler at you. And he kind of approaches and he says, "One time I thought I saw Elliot like in that window right there. That's where his bedroom would be. But it's like Elliot as I remember him, not like 10 years ago, not like I mean this was just like a few months ago." I At first I was too surprised to be scared. And I ran up to it. I was like so excited and but then like I realized like that can't be him. That doesn't make any sense. And just as I started to as a, as I started like freak the fuck out and get out of there, there was a well, I found this on the windowsill. And he goes into his pocket and there's an unwrapped like the wrapping of a Reese's peanut butter cup sitting on the windowsill. He says these were Elliot's favorite. He I think I just imagined him. There was nobody in the window, but there was this, and I don't know. It just freaked me out. And that's your first clue. Reese's peanut butter cup wrappers on the windowsill, connected to the alleged appearance of Elliot looking out the window.
I think Crystal just starts muttering, poltergeists on the south-facing exposure. Odd, but gifts are right.
He says,
Waving about her sage.
I don't think I can go in there, but I, the Rappaports used to always leave the back sliding glass door open, and I don't know, maybe it's unlocked now if you want to sneak around to the back. Also, nobody will see you going in. I can keep watch out here if you want. Um,
And you're sure you don't want to come in? There's a bunch of us. This one's experienced in ghost stuff and that kind of thing.
I mean, somebody's got
And
to be lookout, right? I can be lookout.
I feel like you're afraid. And
Yes.
I also know that the best way to deal with fear is to approach it head on. Just collide with that fear.
Okay. Right. Okay, cool. Yeah. Um,
Here, we can lock elbows and be shoulder to shoulder as we walk in this sliding door.
so you're all heading around to the back?
Already halfway there.
Very good.
Really keen for this adventure.
We'll pick up with you all in a moment. I'm going to check in with Santiago. Santiago, this bar, I think it has just like a, it's called Coyote Chaser. Coyote Chasers. It's not far. It definitely has the feeling of like a place you'd stop by on the way home from work, maybe. It's early in the day still. Well, by the time you all get around and go figure out what you're doing, it's probably like late, early in the afternoon or getting, into the afternoon. And plural or possessive. I don't know. um, maybe the apostrophe is on the outside of the last S. It is the bar of the coyote chasers. Yeah. The multiple coyote chasers. Anyway, Santiago, let's paint the scene as you kind of step into this bar. What do we see around the bar that indicates that this place has never really known better times?
Every single logo is outlined in perfect neon lettering that is about 25% lit.
There's the Polaroids of the regulars, but there's only like 10 of them, like that wall. And yeah,
The dartboard just has two darts.
The list of drinks hasn't been updated or changed since opening, and some of these drinks are no longer on the market.
The bartender, middle-aged guy, flannel shirt, wiping down the bar, says, "Hey, how's it going?"
It's going good. It's good to be back in town. I haven't been here for years, but
Oh
things
yeah,
have not changed, have they?
I guess not. um, the jukebox doesn't work anymore, so that's different.
That's right. I was kind of I would have been underage back in the day,
Gotcha.
so
Well, this
not a
just
place I
happened
would have
last
been.
week, so I wasn't sure what temporal situation we were dealing with here.
Yeah, no, it's been a while for me.
Hmm.
But this is where I kind of cut my teeth, and you know the town, Deep
Well,
Lake, not
hold
not
hold
your
on, hold on,
bar.
hold on, hold on, hold on. What are you drinking?
Oh yeah, and I'm looking around the bar, and I get probably too ornate for his taste. So I'm like, "All right, I want a little bit of that and a little bit of that, and put a little dash of this on there."
He's got, buddy, I got beer and I got beer.
All right. Uh,
If
I'll
you
just
want
have like a
that fancy cocktail kind of thing, you need to go to Albuquerque, right? With all the big city folk.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Believe me, I'm a I'm a bartender in Albuquerque.
Oh, got it, got it. Okay, all right.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, I'll have a Corona and like, do you even have a lime?
sure. And he's getting your Corona, pops it, does a little tip thing, does all that.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like you've been here for quite some time. I got a question that goes back a ways. Remember the Rappaport family? Might have hung out here a little bit. Uh,
Go ahead and make the
you
meddling
and
move.
Cherry.
Make the meddling move with presence.
What is my present? Zero. All right. 10.
Nice. He says, "Okay, I think I know what you're getting at here. I've heard stories in the last couple weeks, some kids, no offense, asking around about like TV or making a TV show or something like that. Uh, it's all coming together now. You're one of those kids, aren't you? You're making one of those TV shows, right? One of those like ghost TV shows. And
Uh,
this is one of the stories you're doing, the Rappaports, the haunted house on Escondido Street.
you aren't talking about those old Odyssey tapes. Those are a myth.
I don't know anything about that, but I do know that if you're making a TV show in Deep Lake talking about mysteries in Deep Lake, such as the house on Escondido Street and the disappeared Rappaport family, I give really good talking head. So
Oh,
just, you
some,
know,
some
I think the bar would be a great backdrop actually.
Yeah, yeah, and I start doing the
Do a little bokeh focus thing, you know?
yeah,
And
I see it. I see it.
yeah.
Uh, Give me
Where's your crew?
a
I mean,
little
let's get
spiel.
this is I'm gonna give you the good shit. Like what's going on here?
I'm the
You're not even
forward
ready?
scout. We did like if we're bringing in like sound, lights, camera. That's the whole crew. That costs money. I'm the forward scout. I gotta like check out and see what we got.
Right.
So like
Got it. Okay.
I pat my pockets for a scrap of paper and pull it out like I'm taking
Well,
notes.
I'm gonna play the role of the skeptic. You gotta have the skeptic, right?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll be the skeptic. And here's what I'm gonna tell you whenever you get your crew in here.
yeah, yeah. Go on.
There's no ghost. There's no aliens. There's no portal to another dimension. The Rappaports didn't get led away by some cult under the moonlight. Nothing like that happened. Okay?
Your
Hugh
evidence?
Rappaport was in deep financial trouble. I mean, really deep financial trouble. And I don't mean from like, people trying to repossess the car. I mean like bad shit, like bad dudes, okay? And I know that because you used to come in here all the time, nervous and kind of antsy about stuff. I think he owed money to like, I don't know, like the narcos or something, like the cartels. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was into some bad shit. He was in deep with some bad people, and that's why the family had to sneak out in the middle of the night.
Got it. Did you ever meet them here? The bad dude narco
No,
guys?
listen, I don't know anything. I just know what I'm just surmising here. I'm
All right,
just
that's
giving you my
good. This
theories.
this will make for a good footage. Yeah. Yeah. What else do you got? Like drinking problems. Uh, did he always order a cheeseburger and fries? What was his thing?
And he says, it was a long time ago. Long time ago. I just know that there's no weird shit going on with that family. They snuck out in the middle of the night because there's some bad people who were after them.
All right.
Or maybe those bad people got them. I don't know.
Yeah. Where do they go after that? Like,
Maybe the last thing those little kids saw was the back of a truck. The dark, hot, muggy back of a dark truck on the way to Mexico.
that's a rough ending if that's what happened.
In any case, that's your clue.
All right.
Your
He was
clue
in
is
financial difficulty.
he was having some financial difficulties, possibly connected to something illegal.
All right.
Let's pick back up with the others. The backyard of 18 Escondido Street. There is a swimming pool filled with a shallow layer of mucky green water, faded and cracked sunbrella furniture. There's some large, now overturned planters. Let's paint the scene, everyone. The Rappaports enjoyed one last day of fun in the sun before their disappearance. What do you see around here that shows that?
This is in the backyard or inside the house? I missed something there.
The backyard is the pool, uh, faded and cracked furniture, like outdoor furniture, large overturned planters. They enjoyed one last day of fun in the sun.
There is a popped and flat inner tube that's shaped kind of like a sea Pegasus sort of looking monster, like a little Nessie kind of action. It's got like the head and then the inner tube that's been punctured and flattened and is just pushed up against a tree buried in seasons of leaves and weeds.
The rotted, torn remains of a slip and slide still traverses the length of the backyard.
There's one of those streamers, banners that has all the individual letters hanging down in little pennants, and it says, to us, it says, "Hey, Bert A." But it was a happy birthday banner.
Sorry, I'm stuck on Hey Bert A. Um, there's a like the head of a pinata, like a kind of a shredded, sun bleached. It's at this point you can't even tell what color it was. It's been out in the sun for 10 years, but you can see that there was a pinata that got shattered back here.
I love it. Well, so Crystal, it sounds like you were first into the fire here. What do you do?
I am trying to center myself, and then I'm paying attention to how my sage smoke is moving, and I'm paying more attention to that and almost on autopilot, pulling up the sliding door like it's nothing, walking in like it's any other kind of house.
Make the
No
meddling
hesitancy.
move with sensitivity.
Amazing. It's not something I usually go well with. Oh, yay. Another sensitivity of -1. This again. Let's see if I can't use one of my other items. Advantage. Mm-mm. Not really oh, could I say that I have a sage in the small brazier as I'm
Oh,
walking
that's
into the
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
house?
Yeah, I
Can I
like
do
that. Yeah,
that?
you can mark that to get advantage.
Marvelous.
Advantage for people watching the video who don't know how the game works. You're going to roll 3 dice and take the two highest, and then add your modifier.
That is an 11 minus 1 is a 10.
Nice. So you're kind of like just kind of initially stepping in and saging the room, like as you kind of walk through. Okay, so I think it like you walk into what's essentially like it kind of connects up with like the kitchen and dining room area, and we'll get to that in a moment. Tanya, what are you doing right now?
I think as we like come around the backyard, like like I'm elbow to elbow locked with Casey. I think he's trying to like squirm away from it, but I'm just kind of like hanging on to him. Um, and as we come around in the backyard, like I just ask him, like I'm like, oh, were you at the party?
He says, "Yeah, I remember this. That was a really fun day. Um, yeah, we used to play it in the pool all the time. It was one of our favorite things to do. Um, yeah, it was great. It was always a really really good time. Well, most of the time it was a good time. Um,
Was there anything weird? Like, did anybody act weird, or you all got kicked out early because something was going on? Like,
go ahead and roll with do the meddling move with presence.
okay. Ooh, that's a 5.
Indeed, it is. As he's clearly got something he wants to say, but before he can say it, I want to get a read on where everybody is. So, Crystal, you're inside. Dash, do you go inside or are you still outside?
I think he's following Crystal very
Okay,
skeptically.
so you're inside as well. You all hear a vehicle pull up on the other side to like what would be the front of the house. You can't see it because you're in the backyard. And Casey's like, "Oh shit, someone's here. I think someone saw us come back here."
Let's duck into the pool. The pool's empty, right?
I'm not getting in that. It's like it's like filled with mucky green water.
Oh, then I'm like, okay,
We're not doing that.
assume it would be empty.
No, 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 no. It's got mucky green water in it still. He says,
Where would you hide when you played hide and seek?
I don't,
Come on, Casey, think.
I, and he's like kind of panicking. And he just like runs inside the house.
Fuck.
What do you do?
Um, I don't want to be trapped inside of the house. I think that's something Tanya would, yeah. Like, so I'm looking for anything that I can kind of like maybe sneak around the corner, like something like that to,
Well,
yeah.
we know that the privacy fence is starting to rot away, and so you
Yeah.
can see through the gaps pretty easily as you go
Yeah.
around the corner, and you can see that the car that's pulled up in front of the house is that white Buick. It's that white Buick. You can even see the little hood ornament on the
The same one
front.
I have, the same.
Well, at a
Oh,
glance. And I'm going to give you a condition, haunted. This is a special condition that is, we'll talk about conditions more later as they come into effect, but this is a special one. Um, that, well, it's kind of for me to know and you to find out, we'll just say. But you have the haunted condition currently. How are you feeling right now?
I think jaw just drops and I'm frozen and I am we probably like it's that sort of it's a very contemporary style, but like we're cutting between my face in this time and my childhood face sitting in the car, strapped in after this wreck. And just and then I think my own breath in the present is like matching that sort of like stress hyperventilation.
Yeah, that's good. I love it. I think at this point we're going to end the day phase with Dash and Crystal and Casey in the house, Tanya outside the house, and Santiago. I think there's probably nothing else to learn at the bar at this point. We didn't leave you hanging on a roll. Did I give you a clue? No, you got your clue.
Yep, got the clue.
Yeah. Let's go to the next phase. So in Skinny Jeans, if you're accustomed to public access, you know how this goes, but it's a little different in Skinny Jeans. So in this case, in order to trigger the viewing of the tape, only one of you has to watch it. Tanya, maybe you run back to the house, you're done with this shit, and you leave, and maybe you go watch the tape once nighttime comes. Santiago, maybe you go watch the tape because you didn't go with the others. But in any case, the watching of the tape triggers as long as one of you is watching it. That's the thing. There's also a circumstance where we can kind of do it out of character as well. But I think in this case, I think it'll make most sense if one of you is watching the tape. In any case, I just need to know if you're all interested in the tape getting watched tonight for this night phase.
Sure, I'm up for it.
In that
Get
case,
things rolling.
we just need to figure out why Tanya and Crystal and Dash and Casey left Escondido Street long enough for nighttime to happen. So, like, you stepped inside. Maybe Tanya, maybe it's because of your reaction to the Buick. I don't know, but what caused everybody to kind of like be like, okay, we'll come back in a minute, or we're gonna just back off for a minute.
Well, as I was going in, I did have a role, and so there is a clue somewhere in there, maybe
Yeah,
for next
maybe the
session.
clue is what caused you to
But maybe the clue is what
yeah.
like
You got
caused us to
10, right?
flee.
Yeah.
I did.
Um, that's very good. Um, yeah. I'm gonna say that clue that you got as you were sort of like, because it's a sensitivity clue. You said you were kind of looking at the smoke, right, to see
Yep.
where it leads you. I think quite simply, the smoke, it all starts to kind of like, it doesn't like behave like smoke should behave. It all starts to sort of, it almost looks like it's coalescing into like a form. And in the same way that Tanya thinks that she saw a face in the tree, you think you see a shape in the smoke, Crystal. And it looks like a small person and their hand, and it looks like they're pointing down. And maybe that's when the car pulls up, everybody kind of freaks out and kind of like leaves. You might find Tanya freaking out, and we'll kind of see what happened after that in a bit. Let's go around the table and find out what everyone's interested in doing for this night phase. Whenever you watch a tape, you get to take one action as well in character, in addition to us watching the tape. Who is actually watching the tape at this point?
I'm up for it.
So Santiago, you go back. You find yourself at the house at night watching the tape. What is everyone else doing then this night at nighttime? I will note that the car, Tanya, it was just a white sheriff's department vehicle. But that's enough reason to get out of there for now.
I think I'm going to the telephone pole. I'm going to, yeah, I've been reminded of the ghost of the crash, and I'm going to go to the physical spot of the crash.
Oh, good. Interesting. Yeah, because that was in Degoya County, right? It was in Deep Lake. I love it.
Crystal, I think, will sit on the sidewalk and just watch the house all night, vigil of just like,
So you kind of come back and just start, you're just like looking at the house. Oh, that's great.
Mhm.
I love it. Dash, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll go with Crystal if Crystal doesn't mind the company.
Yeah. Fantastic. Make sure I'm doing everything I need to do in our little phase here. Okay. Let's talk about the Odyssey tape. If you click over to the tab, it's the very first Odyssey tape on the Character Keeper. This tape is an episode of Happy Jack the Lumberjack and Friends, a children's show that aired on TV Odyssey. The episode opens on a scene where Happy Jack, a crude wooden puppet wearing a flannel shirt and knit cap, a plastic axe taped to his hand, is comforting his friend Lucy, who is portrayed by a crying 12-year-old girl. Everyone will do Paint the Scene, which is our first prompt. Mike, you can do prompt 2. Ben, you can do prompt 3. And Sarah, you can do prompt 4. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back, do our quick night phase. Before we do this Odyssey tape, let me continue with some more stuff about the rules. So these tapes are what you all came here for. Indeed, we got this little mystery with this house that Casey, you're helping Casey out with, and that's one thing. But what you're all here for is to figure out what happened to TV Odyssey. You have a question to answer here, a capital Q question, which is what happened to TV Odyssey? It's a complexity 6. And the clues for TV Odyssey, one of the ways you can find clues for it for the TV Odyssey question is by watching the tapes. And so as we're watching the tape, bear in mind that something that's going on in this tape is a clue about what happened to the TV station. And after we're done at the end of the phase, we're all collectively going to define our first Odyssey clue based off what happens in the tape. There's another way to find Odyssey clues, but we'll talk about that later. For now, let's begin with Santiago pushing the tape in. I mean, just so it's clear, you're all going to eventually watch it, right? But it's just Santiago watching it right now. Pushing the tape in, pressing play. Paint the scene. The episode is supposed to be taking place in the forest where Happy Jack works, but the set appears to be someone's poorly decorated basement. What do we see in the tape in the background that would be out of place in a real-world forest?
I'm
There's a
sitting on that.
large,
Oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead. There's a large tree that's looked like it's been cut out and painted, but just below its branches, you can also see every hung shirt in like a lower part of a closet. You see a bunch of shirt sleeves and hangers and somebody's hockey stick.
I'm sitting on that sofa sleeper bed thing, eating some popcorn, and in the what do you say? The background, kind of a little out of focus. Somebody, like the puppets in the foreground, somebody in the background is trying to do a sort of a secondary puppet effect, and it's just a taxidermy deer head with like a camel wool coat over their arm, kind of going through, and then just off camera.
There's one of those just there. It's not. It's just there. One of those carpeted cat towers. And there's two cats on it that are just like swatting at each other during the entire thing.
Just along the top of these fake trees where you might think it could be a cloud, it's actually like silver ducting catching some of the lights and glaring.
Crystal, I think you and Dash and Casey are, it's nighttime. You're walking back under the cover of darkness to look at the house, right? I don't think Casey's going to be able to work up the nerve to go in, but you can at least check it out from the street, see if you notice anything. Maybe Elliot Rappaport makes an appearance in the window again. Who knows? But Crystal, what have you noticed about Casey and his interactions with Dash that makes you think that Casey might be a little sweet on Dash?
I think that it's constant hair tucking. I think that there's just like there's no hair there. It's completely in a faux hawk situation, but constantly acting as if they could tuck their hair if they had any in that. Yeah, it's just an odd little affectation.
Dash, are you oblivious to this?
Absolutely not. I think every time he turns to face Crystal, he's like just giving like, mm-mm.
I'm sarcastically tucking my actual hair behind my ear.
I love it. Tanya, where did this wreck take place? Was it just outside of town? Was it like where
Yeah, like we lived. Town is pretty small, so we live well outside of town,
Mhm.
a few miles at least.
Okay.
And so yeah, it's a telephone pole along one of whatever. I don't know if it's a side road. Maybe it's more of a side road. It's like
Yeah,
a major road for people who live out there, but not really a tourist road.
I love it. We'll catch up with that in a bit. Let's go back to the tape, Mike. Go ahead and just narrate your scene, the start of the show here.
Um, so yeah, like the show opens and we've got Lucy crying in the forest, and we've got Happy Jack kind of like lumbering along and in the foreground, and Happy Jack looks, oh, you know what Lucy did? Didn't take out the trash. And now her parents have abandoned her in the forest. That seems a little extreme now, doesn't it, kids? What's that? You don't know what extreme means? Well, your granddads and your old uncles and even Happy Jack myself had to fight some extreme people over that great big blue ocean. We called them Nazis. Are Lucy's parents Nazis, kids? Let's find out.
I love it. Crystal, while Dash and and Chase are doing whatever they're or Casey are doing whatever they're doing, uh, what are you doing?
So part of the idea of holding this particular stakeout was to perhaps get Casey into a situation which he could talk a little bit more openly about the scary things he's seen safely from a distance as opposed to being dragged into the house. So maybe it's I think Crystal makes a big show of putting up like a huge bubble ward and like making a lot of unnecessary hand gestures and saying, there, we should be safe, but I need answers. Casey.
I don't know that he has anything else to share,
No,
but
nothing. Mhm.
no. But he's like, oh yeah, yeah, right. I mean, and he kind of just tells you lots of stories about like him and Elliot as a kid, and he kind of just vaguely remembers things at this point, and kind of going on and on a bit. Dash, what are you doing in the meantime?
Parents' closet.
Oh, you're
Gotta
going in the
find the
house.
parents' closet. Yep.
Oh, interesting. Going in the house. I love it. So you're going in through the back, I guess?
Yeah, I think he will be expecting Crystal and Casey to come with, and when they either don't or seem reticent, he'll just, fine, God, he'll go do it himself.
I think sneaking into the back, that's the easy part. It might get harder in a bit. Um, we'll check in on you in a moment. Tanya, you get to there's like maybe like a certain mile marker on the road. That's how you know where you're going, right? And you see the pole that the Buick was wrapped around. I want the night move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
Um, I kind of lose my way in sort of time and space in that way. Like I essentially like psychologically like enter that time and not be able to like bring myself back. Not literal time travel, but sort of like yeah, like
Yeah.
kind of like a hallucination type of thing.
Uh, I'm gonna say it's worse than that. So the night move says,
Yeah, yeah.
when you do something risky or face something you fear, name what you're afraid will happen, and you've done that, and I will tell you how it's worse than you fear. I'm gonna say you are literally lost.
Hmm.
If you wish to continue, I'm gonna have you roll with composure and at disadvantage because of haunted. Disadvantage means you would roll 3 dice and take the two lowest.
No, let's do it. Two lowest is a ends up being a 9.
9. We'll come back to this. Back to all of this. Santiago, I haven't forgotten about you, but we're gonna go to the tape for now. Ben, please narrate the next part of the tape.
Happy Jack uh, discusses for a bit of time whether Lucy's parents might be Nazis. There's some cases for specifically leaving her out in the forest, and some cases against, but you know, it's always better to be safe than sorry. And so Happy Jack teaches Lucy to make very special berry cupcakes. And the camera pushes in, and we see on a log the ingredients set up. These are plump, dark-looking berries, kind of like darker blueberries. And Happy Jack says they are special from a beautiful plant called the Atropa belladonna. We see Lucy make these cupcakes, and uh, after they come out of the little easy bake oven, Happy Jack looks at the camera and says, you know what they say, kids, about the only good kind of Nazi. Let's make some good Nazis.
Fantastic. Santiago, you're watching this weird tape. What are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you reacting?
Oh, there's a certain feeling of nostalgia remembering the wood paneling of my childhood and thinking like how, we had taped up green construction paper to make it into a forest here in the desert. And there's that like dim memory of like, did my dad collect Nazi paraphernalia, or was that just like a Time Life history series books that I'm remembering?
Fantastic. Dash, uh, there's no electricity in this house. It's been cut off for years. But so it's dark. What are you using for a light source?
I assume Dash was prepared for coming here. He would have a good mirror with a built-in light that he's just taken from his pack at home. It's not a flashlight, but it'll work.
Like a little like compact mirror or like
Yeah,
a, okay, good. I love it. That's great. Fantastic. You said you were going to the parents' bedroom, yeah?
yeah.
Let's take a moment to get a lay of the house as best we're able here in the dark. You do have this kitchen and dining room area. There's a TV room. There is the master bedroom, which is where Dash is headed. There's also the kids' rooms, Elliot and Abigail's room. There's also some stairs in the entry, like sort of back end or sort of like entry hallway. There's some stairs that go down into what would be a basement. Dash, I assume you don't do a lot of creeping around abandoned houses in the dark.
No.
I would like for you to make the night move to keep going. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve?
He can't look weak in front of Crystal and whatever Casey, but he's got to impress these people.
It's worse than that. I think you will, something will happen that you will like run out and you will be like screaming, like, or you'll be like, you're going to do something really embarrassing, like, as you run out of the house if you fail. Go ahead and roll with composure if you wish to continue.
That's 12.
Nice. You keep your composure, and I'm going to give you a bonus, which is you're going to find a clue. We'll get to that in a moment. Crystal, Casey's like, he's like, I don't know. I guess Dash went inside, but how is he able to see anything? There's no power. I mean, did you all bring flashlights or something?
I guess Crystal has a candle that she could light up with some sort of a very dirty looking Bic from her clove cigarettes, one would imagine.
Yeah, that's good.
If she saw Dash go into the house and Casey wasn't being helpful, I would storm down the hill and around the back, following after him
Mm,
within a minute or so.
we'll see what you find in a moment.
Mhm.
Tanya, how does it make you feel to be at the site of this horrible thing that happened to you?
Um, it's not the first time that I've been here. It probably like when I was still living here was something of a ritual. But I haven't done this ritual in a very long time, and so it feels it's weird. It's like going back to an old house. Like it feels familiar and warm in a way, but also is kind of like haunting and off-putting. I think like there's even like um, the telephone pole has never been fixed. So there's still kind of like the cracks and like the way that you can kind of see the dent. And there's like um maybe it's related to the crash, maybe it's not, but there's like one of those like white wood crosses that has like fresh flowers hanging from it, like just about where that woman would have landed. Which I think that like is triggering in a way
Mm,
for me. And I've got this like, and so like the way that I'm like dealing with it, I'm looking at, I've got a tattoo that's just kind of tattooed the inside of my um forearm, which is the song that I was listening to at that time, or a lyric from it, and it just says "Can't get there from here." And I'm just kind of like almost like a ritual, just kind of like saying that phrase just like Michael Stipe would have been. So maybe almost kind of like singing it to myself
Mm.
as like I'm staring at this scene in the dark, and my own headlights are shining and lighting up this cross and the telephone pole.
I think that's good for you for this phase. I do want to give you a condition. Can't get there from here. Our last scene in the tape, Sarah.
As the video cuts to black, we can still hear Lucy's voice, and it doesn't quite sound the same. And she whispers, "Rewind for more happy endings."
Dash. How are you maintaining your confidence? How are you like able to like work through your initial trepidation or fear?
I think under his breath, he's just singing uh, Destiny's Child, I imagine. Something upbeat and poppy. He's just trying to keep himself composed.
I love it. The master bedroom, you can tell when you're in the faint light, has teal and mauve decor with seaside motifs. There's a queen size bed with a brass frame. There is still, after all these years, the faint smell of Estee Lauder perfume. Paint the scene. What here makes us think that Hugh and Sherry, the parents, were more focused on their children than themselves?
Their bedroom is full of trophies, but they are like the children's competitive trophies. So like there's and a whole mix of things: scholastic bowl, t-ball, all of that kind of thing.
The annual school photos in perfect order, and then they, of course, terminate at the moment of 1994 with the kids at those ages they were.
In the closet, all the nicer clothes from nights out and parties are far at the back. They're dustier than everything else and more practical. Maybe child worn, torn clothes are more accessible.
There's a cedar trunk in the corner, and if you were to open it up, it would be every item of baby clothing, blankets, sort of every stitch of fabric that these kids have ever touched is in that trunk, sealed away with mothballs and pine.
Can I add one more thing? A cocktail napkin from Coyote Chasers, but it says pick up birthday cake.
Your clue, Dash. Amidst all this stuff, on a dresser, there's a photo of the Rappaports. The photo is Hugh, Sherry, Abigail, Elliot, and a third child that Casey never mentioned and that you've never heard of so far. That's your clue. Three things happen at the exact same moment, though none of you are aware of it. At the exact same moment, Tanya, that song starts playing on the radio in your car. Santiago, the tape stops and goes to a blue screen. Crystal, the TV in the TV room comes on with that same blue screen. And for a brief moment, Santiago and Crystal, it's almost like you're looking at each other in the screen. That concludes our night phase. We have to collectively define a clue, our first Odyssey clue, based off the events of the tape. Who has an idea?
Since we've tied in Nazis, maybe there's something about like Nazi occultism, like the what they were trying to find is what was in Deep Lake all this time.
Oh, interesting. And not a totally like weird connection because a lot of the Nazi scientists ended up in New Mexico, right? So that's
It's actually
intriguing.
really quite excellent
Yeah.
from a narrative place. Yeah.
Hmm. Nazi occultism. It's a pretty interesting clue. Any objections to this or other thoughts? All right. That's your first Odyssey clue. Somebody can mark it there on the column. Evidence of Nazi occultism in the desert or in this area, maybe connected to TV Odyssey. Fantastic. Let's go to our dawn phase, which is just our little upkeep phase. The first thing that we can do is to answer dawn questions. Everybody has the same first question. Did the Latchkeys resolve a mystery? The answer is no, you did not. The next question is for Dash, did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
Uh, Going on his own into a Deep Lake haunted house.
Yeah,
Is that...
I'm not sure that quite fits. Nah, I don't think I don't think it quite fits the bill. Although you did break away from the group. I'll count it. I like it. I think the fact that you broke away from the group is good. Uh, Either that or did you cut loose for once? I think you get 1 XP for one of those. I feel like it's in the same spirit. Santiago, did you share a good memory from your childhood, either in
Nope.
or out of character?
I don't think so.
Okay. Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
Just
Oh,
talking.
the bar. Yeah, I would say so
Yep.
because you were talking about like your past there as well. I think
All right.
helps, and it was also it was kind of around the. It was kind of a weird way to investigate. That was kind of particularly connected to you, I think. So, Crystal, did you deliver a chilling monologue about something that happened to you in the past?
No, not really. And I don't think I was truly vulnerable with anyone either. So I think I missed there.
We'll see how we go next time. Tanya, did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the poll. Yeah. Did you deliver a chilling monologue?
I don't really feel that, but there were the like allusions to the crash when talking to Casey.
Yeah, I
But I
think if
don't
you do
think that
it in
that's really
character
the
more
thing.
directly, yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
would
yeah,
count.
yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't think we have any moves that resolve in the dawn phase. And so before we go to stars and wishes, let me just regale you with some things. Something interesting. Something happening in the desert. There is a TV somewhere. It's an old CRT TV, boxy and heavy, on one of those gray media carts like the teacher used to roll into the classroom on movie day. Except this is no classroom, and we're not here to watch Charlotte's Web for the third time. This TV is in the desert, the blasted landscape where old gods made war on each other. And at the precise moment that Santiago and Crystal think they're staring at each other through blue TV screens, and Tanya is hearing her song, Can't Get There From Here, this TV out in the desert blinks to life. On the screen is a man so big he fills the flickering frame. He's wearing a creamy yellow suit, a cowboy hat, and a bolo tie shaped like the sun. He's looming over a table that is comically small in front of his vastness, and he has tarot cards spread across this little table. He looks into the camera. It might surprise you to learn that I am an enthusiast of the tarot. The first card in the major arcana is the Fool. Now, the Fool depicts a young man blind to the realities of the world, stepping off of a precipice. The Fool is said to augur a new beginning in life, a new journey. And importantly, on the need to trust the hidden forces of the universe to guide you on your way. I do wonder what will happen to these new fools, these beautiful fools who have traveled all the way back to the enchanted land of their youth in search of the truth. What will happen now that they have stepped off the precipice? Will the universe set them down gently, or will they simply plummet into oblivion? The TV turns off, leaving a hot white dot in the center of the screen. And we go to Stars and Wishes. We're a little over time, so we'll be quick about this. But stars are things you enjoyed about the session. Wishes are things that you hope to see in the story next time. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I'll go. Mike, I really appreciated how hard you went from the jump, the introduction with the car crash. Great. I enjoyed Santiago's the just coming in with the mixing drinks for everyone you just met. It was such a great little character beat, and going off and meeting another mixologist and having it completely be less impressive than I think Santiago was hoping was perfect. I love the return to the dark, gothy, in touch with the spiritual world, Crystal, Sarah, and I'm very looking forward to Crystal meeting the big man, in particular. Since you have a history with Jason NPCs of note, and yeah, I'm looking forward to developing these relationships and figuring out who the characters are.
I can hop in. I like Dash's demeanor quite a bit, and the use of a compact mirror as a light source in a haunted house is just absolutely hilarious. Jason talked about T-shirts. This is more of a real life memory, but T-shirts that turn into wads of gum, and that's a memory for sure. Brought back. I love the tree bark faces that are visible out of the peripheral vision, and Sarah being dressed in head to toe eggplant was a nice little thing, and something about the analysis of poltergeists on the south facing exposure. That's odd. It was really good.
I think I was channeling some Ghost Bros conversations we were having earlier. A star for a new nostalgic playground for us to game in. I think that there are going to be some really fun themes to hit, and narratively, we're already going to solve the Nazi problem, so that's going to be great. I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong. Again, Star, I said in the chat, Mike Martin's patented approach to derive your characters like they're stolen is already playing out and hitting hard, which is great. I'm looking forward to seeing more from Santiago and Dash as well. I think that we've all kind of hit on our own little nostalgic groove already. So I'm just looking forward to a lot more eyeliner and ghosts, I guess. Demons, maybe.
Star for Sarah Crystal's character just being like full on supernatural. Love it. Like just like skipping the pretense and just like knowing like this is her thing. It's a lot of fun to have like a magical character in this, or someone who believes that they are attuned to it very closely. Yeah, and I did ditto on Ben's star for the introduction of Santiago and just kind of like leaning into that mixology thing. And then the Jason, the recipe for fake blood was like a really fun way to like kind of like subvert that idea and tie it back, tether it back into the horror tropes and that kind of thing. I think we mentioned it off camera, but Ben Dash being the twink as opposed to the bear is really a wonderful kind of like change of pace and subversion of what we normally expect from you. And because I'm going into this like really like dark place, like I really like the fact that Dash is here. Because it's like I think it'll be like a really nice foil, especially as these like characters potentially like grow closer and that type of thing. Yeah, to have all of these characters are dealing with trauma, but to have these sort of like characters who are approaching it from very different directions. So yeah, and then just a general star for getting to play this. I'm really excited to play Skinny Jeans. I think I said at the onset, and like public access. I think like tonally and setting wise and all of that kind of thing is like this is my this is the one like I get most out of the Car from Brindle, the official Car from Brindlewood game so far. So I'm really excited to play in this playground.
Yeah, I had a great time. I really love these characters. These are great characters already, and I really I like how you all like kind of took the key of the child opportunity to sort of like to tell us as much as you wanted to tell us about your character so far. Like so, Mike went really hard with Tanya, and that's great because it gave me some things to bounce off to kind of to kind of like jump off of or springboard off of in my reactions and things. And so I was really happy with that. But I'm also feeling really good about the other characters, and I want to see what you know their dark and seedy trauma or story is, such as it is. I want to know more about them. This did feel very much like the sort of like beginning part of the movie, right, or the beginning part of the series. And it was really interesting. I've run Escondido Street so many times, but this was interesting because like it wasn't like super overt like haunted house horror right away. That can be fun, but this was like a little. It was kind of more subtle. It was more like the house just kind of tormenting Tanya specifically, like with the faces in the trees and then the white Buick and all that stuff. Like so that was all very interesting. But I am curious to see like how it sort of like starts to affect other people. Um, but yeah, just stars. Everybody did a great job. I like these characters a lot. Really happy to see, like everyone just kind of like getting their sort of like core character idea and running with it, Um, and yeah, so just really pleased with how everyone did, and very excited to keep going in part two. So I think that's all I've got. Anything else? All right. Well, then I'm going to wave goodbye to folks watching the video.